Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called The New Manager. Many years ago, I used to work for an MSP managed service provider as a repair technician in London. I was repairing desktops, laptops and printers. It's pointless trying to drive in central London, so the company would reimburse us for our monthly public transport ticket. As a result of this, we couldn't really carry spare parts with us, like the guys with company cars elsewhere in the country, so they would get delivered to the site. The usual routine was to go to the office in the morning and collect the parts for the first call, then ask the store's clerk to arrange delivery of the rest of my day's calls to site in a set order. This would be the order that I had already planned to attend to travel for the day, so the parts would get there before me, and I could crack on with the first one whilst they were being delivered. I'd usually be on site for the first one by 9:30 and would frequently manage 6 to 7 repairs per day. Obviously, this would depend on how much travel was involved, but all the techs would divvy up the calls first thing in the morning, so that none of us were running around the city too much, and we were mostly based around one area for the day. We each had regular clients, where we'd often go 2 or 3 times per week, and knew the IT teams involved. The MSP gets bought by a bigger MSP. We were told not to worry, and that nothing would be changing, as we were one of the most productive regions in the business. And for a bit, it was everything as normal. Then the manager announces that he's leaving. A new golden boy manager is parachuted in from up north to transform us. Apparently, we might be the most productive team, but we weren't the most profitable. He devises several methods to decrease costs and raise profitability. First off is the closure of the office and relocation of the stores to somewhere central. This is basically the other end of the country, so shipping has to be done the night before. We techs are none too happy about this. Second, he wants us all to use cars, our own cars. He can't force this, as the travel ticket is written into our contracts, and he can only change the contract with our agreement, and we all say no. What he can do is change the shipping routine. The new process is that parts will be delivered to our commercial locker at locations in the city, and we have to go and pick the parts up before heading to our first call. We are well aware of the performance of the new owner's chosen shipping company, and usually reserve them the nickname UK Fail, as they never seem to hit service level agreement. Further, the lockers are located in various strange locations, on the street, petrol stations and random career offices. They have no way to keep tabs on who is where, or collecting what. Aside from calling us, there's a quick get together, and we agree that, as the manager hasn't deigned to help us, and isn't hiring replacements for those who've left, we aren't obligated to help him. The plan is that no one is to attend our locker until 10:30, which is the service level agreement for parts delivery. No one is to carry more than 1 bag of parts. If you have to do multiple trips to our locker, so be it. No one is to pick up any slack for anyone else. Answer calls for help if someone is in trouble though. Do what you have been assigned, if possible. And never call in to say that you have finished all your calls for the day. Anything that gets left over, gets left. If you get assigned an emergency call, some clients had SLAs that required a tech on site in a given time, usually 4 hours. Go there and wait for parts as usual. Communicate this to any new hires during their training days. Productivity plummets. Manager calls meetings and generally loses it, but we are just following his procedure. Within 12 months, he is gone, and the new guy has the sense to ask us what would be a better way to run things. The last story is called On the Clock. I used to work in a trade shop, run by a great boss. Everyone got along, except for one of the department heads. Let's call them B. The boss decided to sell the shop to B, and in the wake, the majority of the staff quits within months, leaving us understaffed. I naively decided to stick it out, and assumed that B would hire people to fill the empty positions, which didn't happen. We went from a 15-person trade shop down to 5 persons within a year. and that included the 6 people who turned over. One of the many issues that developed, and there were many, was B's inability to schedule or think through actions to the end and plan ahead. While I worked there, the 2 years with Boss, I often came in 10 to 15 minutes early due to the nature of my commute. I'd come in, unload my stuff, make some coffee, small talk with my coworkers, but we never really started work until everyone's scheduled start time. When B took over, the moment you stepped into the shop, B immediately started to bark orders at you, regardless if you were in the building 15 to 20 minutes early. When I, the now most senior person left at the shop from the old regime, would point out that we technically weren't on the clock yet for another 15 to 20 minutes, and I want to make coffee, B would just snap at you, telling me to do it now, because so-and-so is coming right at the opening. So I started to wait in my car, bring in my coffee from home, and would only walk in the door as the last minute was changing. I was technically never late to work, and was ready to work the moment I stepped through the door. I don't know if B caught on, but the rest of my staff did, and followed suit, since I told them to. For the remaining months I lasted there, all my coworkers would still often show up early to work, but all wait in the vehicles, and go in as a group. Anytime a new person joined, because someone walked off, we would also warn them of what would happen. It's been several years since I worked there. I don't know any of the current staff besides B. I happened to be doing an on-site install nearby at the time that the shop would open, and looked over into the parking lot in front of the shop. Like clockwork, a minute before the shop was scheduled to open, about 6 people got out of their vehicles and headed in. I may not work there, but it's nice to see my resistance still exists. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.